Hey there, Nerdcasters. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Nerdy and Cozy. On today's episode, we are talking Pokemon Yellow, originally released in Japan on September 12, 1998 on the Game Boy. Hope you enjoy the show. So, Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah. So I just beat Misty.
Nice.
That's the second one. And it was basically all with my Pikachu.
So are you playing it right now?
I am, yeah.
You got to share the screen if you're playing it now.
I can do that. Can I do that? I can share. Uh-oh. Hopefully I don't have to restart. I do. I'll relaunch Chrome and be right
back. You'll be right back. In the meantime, I will regale our audience with stories of me talking to myself. And we're back. Is that the scotch you brought last time?
I don't know what it is. It's super old. No, so it's that Jim Beam, and it's not something that I think I would normally buy just to drink straight, but it was somebody gave it to me. And apparently it's from the 80s, so it should be expensive now because it wasn't open. It had this tax seal across the top that they don't really do anymore.
Nice.
I think I sent it to one website to say how much would you buy it from? Because there's websites that will buy old bottles.
Yeah.
And they were like, go ask this guy. And I was like, no.
You're like, never mind.
So I just opened it. I started drinking it. It's too much work.
So you didn't make my signature episode drink?
All I had was the off-brand Gatorade cucumber lime. I think it's just sports drink from HEB.
Oh, that's cool. HEB makes their own?
Mm-hmm. They have their own cucumber lime Gatorade thing.
That's cool. No, so this is...
I wonder...
it was supposed to be pineapple soda, but I went to Central Market and I could not find pineapple soda there. So I just bought their yellowest soda, and it's gin and 2 cherries.
Their yellowest soda.
It looked like a Pikachu a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was calling it either a Thunderbolt or a Pikachu. So one of those. In reality, it's just a Tom Colins.
that Tom.
Oh, cool. We're like streamers. We're so cool.
No, tell me
if I'm getting any audio.
I'm not even getting any audio.
Nah, we don't need the audio. I'll be that. Doop 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 doop. Pika.
Yeah, this is look how happy he is.
That is pretty stinking cute. I am surprised at the quality. I don't know what I was expecting.
That it's low or that it's super great?
That it's great for being just what is this, 16-bit?
Sure. Regular Game Boy. I don't know. And I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the best part of the podcast, right? That everyone can listen to us talk about how this looks.
Well, this will be the small little tidbit that ends up on YouTube where it's us playing.
Yeah.
Or you playing. Oh, man. I'm realizing I forgot all the names of the Pokemon.
Yep.
Because I did not remember that thing's name was Venonat.
No, I was going to call it
Venonat?
Tangela? And I don't even know what that. Don't kill it. Don't kill it.
Tangela. Oh.
I think it might be what it morphs into. Evolves. I don't know what I was talking about.
I don't think it evolves into a Tangela.
No?
It evolves into a weird moth thing.
Does it turn into another butterfly?
Yeah.
One?
It's like a moth.
Moth.
And I think it's called a dust free. Dust free? Let's find out.
You know more than I do. This and Arceus are the only ones that I played. So
I know really? You only played this in Arceus?
And I think somebody after I played Yellow, somebody lent me Blue. And that was it.
So Blue came out before Yellow. Mm-hmm. And Yellow was the newer version with more stuff in it. So if you were to go back and play Blue, you'd be like, oh man, there's not as much Pikachu surfing in this one.
None, I think. I don't know. And also there's a mini game in this one where you can you surf on Pikachu for like points.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking cool. I saw a video of it because you were talking about it, and I was just like, oh, like I guess you can use Pikachu for surf for when you're like floating on the water.
Yeah.
But it's like a full blown mini game where you're like riding waves and it like measures your radness. It's pretty cool. There's a whole video on it. I was very impressed.
This was like my life though. So I would play whatever main Pokemon I was using would get close to passing out, and then I would immediately go heal them. I didn't test it. Like, I just went and healed them immediately. Plus, also, if you keep letting Pikachu like faint, then he starts to not like you. And where am I at? Cerulean City? If Pikachu if he likes you a lot, that determines whether or not this character gives you a Bulbasaur.
Oh.
He has to like really like
you. I remember reading about that. Yeah, because that's how you can get the other starter Pokemon.
The originals, yeah. Someone just gave me a Charmander. Like, he's like, I'm a terrible trainer. You can have him. I remember asking my neighbor to take me to a pawn shop so that I could get a Game Boy, like a regular Game Boy.
Yeah.
Because I think the Game Boy Color had just come out. So of course they were like way more expensive.
Yeah.
And this was essentially like what a color one would look like. This is on Game Boy, but it's essentially like it's being played. But yeah, I got my mom's friend, our neighbor, to take me like all the way into town and to get a regular Game Boy. And then as we were leaving, I was like, man, they had a Game Boy Pocket. It was only like a little bit more. I should have got it. So I got her to take me back, and ended up getting it. And then I put the game in and played it. It was like from a pawn shop. The screen had so many scratches on it.
Oh no.
So it was a garbage Game Boy Pocket.
The Game Boy Pocket, was that the super, super tiny one?
It was like really, really thin.
I don't remember any of these. The only one I remember was the Game Boy Color. Ooh, the Game Boy Pocket is like really nice.
Yeah. Interesting though, like Game Boy Color, I think Game Gear came out. The Game Boy Color was released in 1998. The Sega Game Gear came out in 1990. Have you ever seen a Game Gear? A Sega Game Gear?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It was a pretty big handheld, but it was full color, just not backlit. So a full 8 years before Game Boy Color came out, Sega had released a full color handheld system that so it had its own kind of cartridges, but then you could get an adapter and plug in full-size Sega Genesis games into it.
Ooh.
And play. Yeah. It also had like
Genesis games were huge though. That's giant.
Yeah, they were. It also had like these other like adapters that you could plug in, and it would pick up over the air TV stations. So it had like a big antenna, so you could use like your Game Gear and watch like basic TV on it. Of course, it ran on like 8 AA batteries or something. So I don't know that was.
That sounds awful. This thing is huge. Oh my gosh. And why would you watch TV on that?
Oh, I never did. But you could. That was always what made me like such a fan of Sega over Nintendo back in the day, is because it always just felt like Sega wanted to put out the best that they could as soon as they could, while Nintendo was always kind of like putting out all the different iterations to get as much money, which is better business.
I think it is, because I've never heard of the Game Gear and I've never seen that either. But you know what? I wasn't a big fan of Genesis. That was the console, like the first console that we had, and I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. But Mike had it and he always played it, and he played like Sonic and just all the Sonics. I don't know what else was on there.
There were a lot of Sonic. No.
That Game Gear does not look like a good design.
It's what the thing looks like now.
Oh, the Steam Deck.
Yeah. It's like the Steam Deck. without touchpads.
So if you look at the Game Boy looks way cooler. Game Gear looks like a knockoff version of it that if you played with it, you would be made fun of in school. But look at him with the Game Gear.
No,
yeah.
Game Gear meant you had money. I don't know. Just stupid.
I'm looking at I do miss that about video games is that they used to have attachments for everything. This is a Game Gear with a little radio antenna. Oh no, that's the TV tuner. That's what I'm looking at.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it does look pretty cool. It does look like something in a movie that would be a prop that detects gravitational waves or something. I remember watching the anime, and there was like an episode where Ash had to let the Butterfree go, and I remember I started crying.
Oh. Ooh, take that, Machop.
So there was Pokemon Red and Blue. Later on, they released Green. And then they released Pokemon Yellow. And this one was like, there were new elements added, and you can play as Ash, and you can see the Pikachu walk around.
Yeah, but I don't even remember if Green came out. Green came out, but I don't think it was really released here until much later. So I think we had gotten Red and Blue, then Yellow, and then like later Green was made available. I think I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I just remember thinking, why doesn't Bulbasaur get his own? I was really upset.
I did make a whole special video on how to make the...
Oh, you made a video for the drink?
Yeah, just making it. It's literally 3 ingredients. I haven't landed whether it's a Thunderbolt or a Pikachu. And also, I did use a fancy soda.
Did you get that from the Asian store that y'all went to?
No, I did get a soda there. I just got like a bubble tea and a marble soda. But no, this is from Central Market. For some reason, they didn't have any pineapple soda. I wanted to do a pineapple soda to be in theme of like a tropical Pikachu. So he's like surfing. It was perfect. I had the whole thing planned out, but then I was foiled by the Gucci bee.
This has been like nice. Like, so as far as this being like a cozy game, what's nice about it is like, there's no real consequence to like losing. Like you don't lose items. You don't lose even like your save, because it just brings you back. You just wake up at the Poke Center. So there's no real like loss. So that helps it not being, because it can get stressful. Like if you're trying to get through like Mount Moon, and you can't really just leave whenever you want unless you have an escape rope. It starts getting stressful.
I definitely would consider Pokemon a cozy game. Mm-hmm. Oh, I did not know. So is that what happens when all your Pokemon faints? Is you just wake up in a Poke Center?
Yeah, for some reason you pass out.
Which makes sense, because then the mechanics of the game would be broken, because you can't walk back to a Poke Center with no Pokemon, because then maybe that's what happens. You're overwhelmed by other Pokemon attacking you because you're trying to run back to the Poke Center.
You can run. Like you can run from, as long as it's not a battle with another person.
So what would happen if you survive the battle, but your Pikachu is poisoned, or your whatever Pokemon is poisoned? Mm-hmm. Do you pass out when your Pokemon? Oh,
it's a bummer.
It's terrible. So who's in your roster right now?
I have a Pidgey. Oh, here we go. Pikachu, Rattata, Zubat, Pidgey, Butterfree, and Charmander.
Nice. Pretty good.
Rattata it looks like an ox.
Yeah, it does not
Every
look like
bird Pokemon looks like this, brother.
Wow. So I was just looking at Rattata because I haven't thought about them in a long time.
Yeah.
Did you know they were formed in the 80s? They were from the 80s. They started their band in the 80s.
No, I didn't know
that. Can't be right.
I didn't think they were that old.
Yeah, me neither. Especially with how hip and funky they are. Yeah, 1980. That is insane. I did not know Rattata was that old.
Whoa. So yeah, I think Yellow. I played Yellow. I think that might have been like the first game I ever bought myself was Yellow. And I remember loving it.
Nice. Let's see. I borrowed Gold from a friend way back when. And I borrowed my brother's Game Boy. I think it was a Game Boy Color because it was yellow. I can't remember what it said, but I'm pretty sure the yellow ones were color.
Yeah, because there was like a special Pikachu edition of the Game Boy.
I don't think that's what this one was. We were not special edition people.
But I remember, this game probably won't stress me out as much as it did when I was a kid. But this game as a kid was like really stressful to me.
Why was it so stressful?
I don't know. Probably because it just had like the whole world built. Like it had the cartoon, and it had the so you got to see the characters and their personalities and all the Pokemon and stuff. You
were intimidated by all the back. What is that called? Like all the history you had to learn.
Charizard was pretty scary. Like, even though they're all very, very cartoony looking especially the original cartoon, but it's like he was dangerous. He always was setting people on fire.
That's really funny. I guess I can't say anything. I used to be scared of mascots. Like people in mascots. I don't know why. Yeah. Even now, like when I see a person in the mascot uniform or the suit, like I don't know why. I just get a little bit, I don't trust them. Did you ever play the Pokemon card game?
Like in real life?
Yeah. Oh, they did have a card one. That's right.
They did have a card game. Yeah.
The real life Pokemon game.
The real life live action. I did. I was into that for a while. That was, middle school time, I think, for me. Having like a full binder and trying to trade to collect them all. And of course, it was just like I remember the first Dark Charizard I ever saw. It was like a Team Rocket Dark Charizard. I don't even think I knew it was a thing yet. And someone showed up in like math class with a Dark Charizard, and it blew my mind. But now it's now the card game has gotten so crazy. I mean, when you start with like 151 across 3 games, and then it's like it's turned into what it's turned into now, it would be hard to I think get back into it.
Yeah, so I never played the card game. I always really wanted to play it, but my parents would refuse to get me the cards because they were like, "You'll just lose them."
Collecting the cards, but it was almost like a pay to win thing. Even with if you had the money, you could go buy stuff until you had
pay to win. Teaching children gambling.
Yeah, because I remember there was a bookstore in Beaumont called Books A Million, and they would do tournaments like on Saturdays.
Nice.
But I never
Did you ever do them? I
think I went once to watch because I also didn't want to be seen with them.
You're like, that's a whole other level of nerd I'm not ready for.
I forgot about this guy. I'm dropping off Charmander. He babysits your Pokemon. And when you come back, they're just stronger.
Oh, nice. So there was like a version of this in one of the newer games where you drop off one of your Pokemon and the guy's like, "Oh, I just lost my wife. I'm so sad." And you like leave a Pokemon with him. And then shortly after, he dies later on.
He dies?
He dies. And you like go back to his house and there's like a letter to you. And it's like, "Thank you so much for letting me take care of your Pokemon. He made like my last few days happy," or something like that. It's like super, super sad. Go watch it. It'll make you cry. So let's do an official rating of Pokemon on its coziness factor.
Who's with me, listening people?
Comment down below.
Comment down below.
Like, wait, isn't this a podcast? Now, I do also think nostalgia plays into this, because I think if anybody was born after 2000 would have a lot of difficulty playing this.
Yeah. And I have been enjoying this. I mean, like realistically, when I go back and try to play like older games, like I've tried to play like PlayStation games or something. I get bored with them really quick.
Really?
Yeah. But this one that I started playing it, I think I tried like 3 or 4 weeks ago to play it, and I was like, can't do it. 2 days ago, I think I put it on again, and I was like, oh, like I started getting into it.
Yeah, that's funny. That is what's happening to me with Yoshi's Island. We'll have a whole episode about Yoshi's Island.
I did start playing Yoshi's Island the other day.
It's really good, because I'm not a big fan of Mario, because I'm terrible at Mario. Like I'm so bad at it. But Yoshi's Island has Mario, like it's a platformer, but it's not a platformer the way Mario is.
There are levels though where you can still like drop.
Yes, there are. But
when you told me like you can't drop at all, and then the giant thing like landed on me and took me out, I was like, Keith is such a liar.
There is also the ability to rewind in the
yeah, that's true, but I didn't
Nintendo one.
do that.
So that makes it better. But like there's a really intense dropping level in like the third level of Mario. Which one is that one? We're on an island. Mario's Island. What is that called?
On which one? On which Mario?
It's Mario. Super Mario. I think it's Super Mario.
I did not like Mario that much.
I always tried to like Mario. I just couldn't get into it.
All my brother's friends had Mario games, so that's just what we had to play. I did like Sonic a lot more. I will say that. Sonic, way more stressful.
Sonic's crazy stressful. You're like going really fast.
Sonic is what gave me like the great fear of drowning.
In real life or in video games?
In real life, because of there's a level in Sonic 2 where the water keeps rising and you have to go through it, but it keeps rising and keeps rising, or you drowned.
Whoa, I don't remember that at all. Although I never got past like the first or second stage.
No. It might have been like the third or fourth level, but it was really, really stressful. And like, because the music would get really dramatic. Like in Mario, when you're about to run out of time, it just kind of speeds up. Sonic's got like, I don't know, to me, it got really scary.
Well, and what also made Sonic impossible was the boss levels, the boss fights. Probably super, super hard.
The game was like about moving through levels really quickly. Was kind of a big part of it. So if you couldn't, it kind of hurt the game. Yeah. I think I remember that was like a big deal. What kind of hurt Sonic? There was a documentary or something. They messed up on a couple of games because the way that they would build the levels made Sonic go at a slower pace. You had to jump more and stuff like that. Whereas Sonic really did its best when you could like fly through the level.
I was not. My brain, like as a child, my brain was not able to like process things quickly. Like in order to be able to play Sonic effectively. And you know who I was confusing the boss battles with? Boss battles were hard in Sonic. The boss battles that were super hard were on Mega Man. Did you ever play Mega Man?
Yeah. So I think it was like one of the Mega Man X where you got like the white suit of armor. But I did get 11 was on sale. It's always on sale for Switch, I think. And I got that. That game really stressed me out. I think I'm just an easily stressed person, I think is really what it boils down to.
I think so. I think I'm learning that. Have you seen that theory that Cubone is just a Charizard who never had his tail lit?
I think I've heard that and read that, but I think it's.
I think it's true.
The darkness aspect of it, I think, is to me not more appealing, but just more dramatic than because to me, I'm like, okay, so it just stays a Charmander forever.
Well, he turns into
but he never turns into like the big one, I guess.
You want like a dragon form of him, a kaiju Cubone.
I want a Charizard version of Cubone. I remember doing it one night. I left my Game Boy on. You had to like leave it on for like so many hours at a certain place or turn it off and back on every so many hours. And you would battle this missing no is really, I think, what the whole thing was. But a lot of people were like, that's Togepi. Because that's who became like the next kind of really popular Pokemon and like the next kind of set of Pokemon or whatever. But
yeah, that sounds like something that was created by like the people who sell the batteries. Like, yeah, you got to have it on for 18 hours. You just got to burn through those double A's.
And it was a glitch. It's like, and I remember like you could, the only way you could get Mew for a long time, and I don't even know how you can get him now, but you could only get him through like giveaways from Game Freak, I think. Or
really?
Maybe that's who Missing No was. Maybe that's who people thought Missing No was Mew.
Just like a glitchy Mew.
Yeah. It was just black squares.
But didn't it have its own? It had its own Pokemon number, didn't it?
Who? Missing No?
Yeah. Oh, it appears as 000.
Yeah. But it was just a glitch. And I remember I got it one time.
So we'll have like a running list of cozy Pokemon games. What would you rate Pokemon Yellow relatively high or low?
I think so. I think as an adult, I don't think as a kid I would consider it a cozy game.
I can see that. I think now I can see myself like on a cold, rainy day, wrapping myself up and playing some Pokemon.
Which is what I would do if I had something handheld to play it on. Because I did, like there have been times where it's like, oh, I want to get one of those handheld emulators that you can take with you, but it's like, but I have a Switch. I don't want to buy another thing. But then they also have, you can get emulators and stuff on your phone, and they had those like backbone controllers or whatever. But,
yes, I've seen those.
But also, I just have it on my computer. I don't know.
Yeah. But there is something special about having it in a handheld that makes it more. Because, I mean, especially with your setup, you can't like sit in your bed with your laptop. Well, it's not a laptop, it's a big
old. It's the Mac Mini.
It's a whole orchestra.
I wonder if I could like remote into my Mac with my iPad from bed and play it there.
It's like what is that for the PlayStation? They have their own version of that now. It's like their own handheld, but you can only play it when your PlayStation's turned on. Yeah. It's the worst idea.
And it's like really expensive, right?
Yeah. It's like $200. 200 plus.
But yeah, I wouldn't.
I mean, after spending $600 on a PlayStation, although I would love to play Spider-Man on a handheld.
But can you even take it with you? You don't have to be like on the same network?
It is streaming, but it has to be on. But you can stream it far away.
But you still have to have like internet on the thing, right? Like you'd have to be like if you were gone, you could connect to a hotspot like on your phone or public Wi-Fi.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah.
You would still have to connect to a hotspot in some way. Yeah. You have to connect to the internet somehow.
That's that.
Okay, so what's the next game that we're gonna do? You said you never played what's it called? Oh my god, why can't I remember what it's called?
I have the Minish Cap.
Ooh, Minish Cap is good. Did you play Minish Cap?
I haven't. I played it on the handheld, and I think I played it on the Switch a little bit.
Oh, that one is.
I don't think Wind Waker.
Oh, Stardew Valley. I think we should do Stardew Valley next. Valley.
Yeah,
because Stardew Valley, I think, is if we had a rating system, is all the way at the top. I feel like that's what kicked off cozy gaming in the zeitgeist.
Oh. Let me see. Stardew Valley, No Man's Sky, Portal. Is Portal a cozy game?
Oh, Portal. I would totally consider Portal a cozy game.
Ooh, I bet Construction Simulator would be cozy.
That does not sound cozy at all.
It does. You just build stuff. It's just like you have a backhoe and you just move dirt around and stuff.
A lot of your cozy games are like simulating labor because you also like the power wash.
Would you consider Subnautica a cozy game?
Your description of it, no, because it sounded very
an absolutely
intense.
Terrifying game. But it's so good. It's such a good, stressful game. Brazilian street food simulator.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
that's
coming
more
soon.
Labor.
It hasn't come out yet.
It doesn't have a release date.
My goodness.
You can make those little cheese bread, Brazilian breads that I like. I don't even think I made it to Algebra 1 because I was too busy stuck in geometry.
I don't know. I think when they came in like middle school, it might have even been 5th grade, which was the last year of elementary school, to find out what graduation plan. Like the students came from high school and they're like, well, you should be on distinguished. I hate the naming levels of them. Distinguished, recommended, and minimum. It's so insulting. I was like, minimum, please, at like a very young age. And they're like, are you sure? You should do at least recommended. And I was like, no, it's okay, minimum. They're like, if you do a minimum, it's going to be really hard to get into college. And I was like, yep, I don't care. And so I was on minimum. And my first year of high school, I took and failed biology.
That explains a lot.
And then the following year, I took IPC, I think, integrated physics and chemistry.
Oh my God. That sounds intense.
Almost pretty much failed it. Don't know how I got through it. And then chemistry, I think just full on chemistry. I failed IPC. I passed chemistry. I was in 12th grade. I think I only talked to my counselor like twice in all 4 years of high school. She calls me into her office the end of the first half of school. How many semesters are there? 4 semesters?
Yeah, 4.
So I was
semesters. Yeah, 4 semesters.
2 semesters?
Might be 2, but I want to say somewhere between those 2 and 4.
So let's say there's 2 semesters. I was at the end of the first semester, and I went to the counselor's office, and she was like, "Hey, so I should talk to you about like your graduation plan." And I was like, "Wow, this is really late. Like I'm about to start the last few months of high school." She was like, "Yeah, I see you're on minimum." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "Oh, I think so you have, biology, chemistry, and IPC. I think 2 of those are required." And I said, "It better be chemistry and IPC." She goes, "No, actually, I think it's biology." I was like, "I failed biology." She's like, "I know." I said, "I failed biology in 9th grade. I'm in 12th grade now." And I think I had only failed the first semester of biology. I had passed the second semester, but I failed the first semester. So I got like half of a credit or something like that. And she goes, "No, biology is required." And I said, "Okay, so what are you going to do about it?" "You're telling me as I'm going into my last semester of high school that I missed the first semester of a 9th grade class." And she goes, "I'm sorry. You're going to have to come back for summer school."
Oh no.
And I think me and 3 friends were taking like a month-long road trip to like New York. And I was like, I can't go to summer school. And she was like, "Why? You should really do this. You should, whatever you have planned for summer, you should not do. And come to summer school and get your first semester in." And I said, "Me and some friends are taking a road trip to New York." And she was like, "I would do that." So I did that, and then went back to school for half a day for half of the school year, so that I had to take like a half a day's worth of classes just to take biology for half a school year.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I actually had something similar.
Ever.
I had something similar happen to me where I was it's funny, the terminology we have for stuff is different. I was in like AP and dual credit classes. And so, which it just means like AP was like you had to take a special test. The dual credit was like if you just show up to class.
Everyone else can't see that I made like a ooh, look at me face because you said AP.
Well, all AP meant was that you had to work really hard in class to pass it, and then you had to take you had to take a test at the end of the year that gave you the credits for college. And so I never did AP because AP was not worth it. Like, I'll just take dual credit because I can get one of my lame teachers to let me do whatever I want. So that's what I did. But I took like dual credit English, and I got all the way into like college level English when I was still in high school. But at some point, my counselor missed that I didn't take like remedial English, like the very first class you take as a freshman. And so it was like a couple of weeks away from graduation. They're like, hey, you missed this credit. I'm like, I'm in dual credit English. How is that? How is that anything?
Who missed this credit? I missed this credit.
Exactly. Yeah. They were like, you should have taken this. I'm like, I was like, I'm not going to do it now. And so like, they're like, okay. Like, you don't have to take a class and we won't hold you back. Just take this test. And I was like, okay, I'll take the test. And I sat down, like the first question was like really basic English stuff. And I was just like, I don't want to, and it was like a couple of hours I had to sit there. And I finally just went up to the teacher that was there. And I was like, hey, I'm in Mr. Pozo's dual credit class, and you're making me take this quiz that's like asking me really basic things. Can you just let me leave? And she's like, yeah, I don't care. That's fine. She's like, I'll put that you were here and I'll pass you. I was like, cool. And I walked out.
Well, what's the evidence that you passed?
I have no idea. I literally think it was just like a form where she checked off, yes, you took English.
Especially if it was probably like a remedial thing. They're like, don't waste your time sending that test in to us so that we can verify.
Yeah. And
I had a teacher
graduating still. So.
Yeah, I had my chemistry teacher. I think it was the first semester. They were like, "Don't worry about it. Like, just try, and I'll pass you. Like, but don't stress. Like, don't feel like you have to turn in everything." And I was like, "All right, cool." And then I think I got into like the middle of the second semester, and he came and he was like, "Hey, I don't have any reports for you on these things, and you need to turn those in or you're going to fail." And I was like, whoa, you told me I didn't have to work very hard, and now you're telling me I have to work very hard?
It's a terrible
I don't
teacher.
appreciate that. So yeah, I had to like, while the rest of the kids were like watching movies, like at the very end of the school year, I was having to like write up reports and take a bunch of tests to like make up. That was my trend, because the same thing happened in like in English class I had. I think I just didn't like writing essays. And I think I had like 4 out of 6 essays missing. And like the last 2 weeks of school, I had to write like 4 essays to turn in.
Gosh, that sounds awful.
Everyone else was like watching movies, and I was just like in the corner, just like writing essays. And even then, I was like, "It's not worth it. I don't feel like doing."
There was another
a terrible
class.
Student.
Oh, I was also a terrible student. I was a terrible student. I had another class. It was AP Physics, which was, I don't know why I was in there. Like, I shouldn't have been there. It was me, and like there was a kid who won that what is like the Pell Grant. She won some big scholarship. Anyways, it was me and like 6 other kids. And this teacher barely got that class, and all but one of us were failing. So she's like, okay, she's like, I'm just going to make projects for y'all to do. And when you turn them in, if you put in effort, if you just make it look like you tried, I'll pass you. And she gave like each person something like really simple. Like, I can't remember what the other kids' projects, but she knew that I like to paint and I like to draw and stuff. She's like, if you make me some sort of art project that talks about physics, I'll pass you. I was like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, I can do that.
Interesting.
And I remember I made portraits of different physicists from different decades painted as the art form that was popular. So I can't remember what I did, but it was like a cubist Marie Curie.
Sounded like
and I painted it. I gave the semblance of being smart, but I was actually very, very stupid. I was just able to trick people with my charm is what it is.
Yeah.
So I made that painting and she loved it so much. And she was like very grateful that I tried, because the other kids were like, okay, yeah, like I'll do whatever. And like they did it halfway, but she like really appreciated my part. I had to go back to high school to pick up something. And like I visited a few of the teachers after I graduated, and I walked into her classroom and she had my little art project inside of a glass case that she had like made for it. And I was like, oh, cool. She was really nice. I wonder what happened to her.
She's dead.
She had only been teaching for like 3 years. That was like her second or third year teaching. So she was like a super new teacher.
I'm sure the excitement wore down very quickly after that.
Oh, I'm sure. If she had to teach AP physics to a bunch of kids who were too stupid to understand it, I can imagine. At yahoo.com? How old are you?
It's that Element Skater Boy from like middle school.
Was that your old
where it had
email?
the number 8 in it. Yeah, because Element was the best skateboard brand. So I was ELMNTSK8RBOI, of course, because of Aberline. At yahoo.com.
That's beautiful. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt with a little pixelated like skater sprite. And that's going to be on our TeePublic. Good.
Anyways, bye everybody. Is that how you?
That's a terrible sign. We say bye to each other. We don't say bye to the audience.
Oh, maybe I don't. The audience is who we really care about. Why would I be rude to them? We can't say bye to the audience. Well, don't listen to Keith's podcast, everybody. He does not care about you.
Well, no. Let's just try and incorporate it.
No. It's okay.
You're like, no, I don't care. I don't want to.
I'm done. No, it's fine. No, because that's normal, right? Like you do have like a more sincere goodbye. But wait, I can say goodbye here.
You can.
Thanks, everybody. I don't know. This is probably like the 4th or 5th time.
I'll pick the best one.
Goodbye. Pick like a few of them.
I'll pick a few of them.
I'll put them like
I'll
2 or 3.
I'll supercut them one right after the other.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Bye. All right. This is now a good sign off.
This is a 16-minute sign off.
Thanks, bud. Thanks for recording with me.
Enjoyed it. Tell Leslie we said hello. Hope y'all have a good night. Goodbye. Bye, everybody. Like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Or people that aren't your friends. We don't really care.
Check out our Patreon for some exclusive podcast content. If you want to learn how to make a Thunderbolt, check out our Instagram at @TheNerdLemon. Thanks for listening. We like each other,
right? Right?
You picture? Sorry, I'm eating a cherry. Maraschino cherries.